I'll see if I can get a job in it. Got a degree. I then got a master's, and I applied for jobs as geologists, and I got a job in Glasgow, and I've been in the area ever since. And that's how I became a geologist, because someone said to me, "You've got a space in your timetable. Do geology. You'll like it." That's exactly how I became a geologist. So to answer the sort of the other part of the question is, there's an awful lot of physical mental attributes and things that people who are on the spectrum have that they are particularly good at, and there's sometimes they're not particularly good at. I'll give you an example. I'm a very organized person. I have files over there, I have files over there, I have a drawing cabinet there, and I've got bookshelves over there. And if someone came in and moved something, I would know just by walking into the room, scanning it with my eyes. Someone has been in and moved something. And yet there are other people with Asperger's or autism who are completely messy. It's in that bundle over there somewhere, or it's buried under that pile of paper there somewhere. So whilst there are traits and characteristics that people who have autism and Asperger's exhibit, not everyone on the spectrum has all of those traits and characteristics. I'm going to give you an analogy of how I view the spectrum of Asperger's syndrome. Okay. See this thing here? This is a kebab. This is a wooden kebab skewer. Imagine you had a grapefruit in one hand and you shoved the kebab skewer through the grapefruit, so that you had about a third of it sticking out one end to the blunt end, a third of it in the grapefruit, and a third of it with the pointy end sticking out the other end. Imagine the pointy end is 100% and the blunt end is 0%. Okay, we've all got that?
Yeah.
Imagine if you had 10 of those kebab skewers through the grapefruit. Now imagine if you had 1,000 or 10,000 kebab skewers through that grapefruit, and each kebab skewer was one characteristic or trait of Asperger's syndrome and the spectrum, and everyone sat on a different place on that kebab skewer on all 10,000 of them. So some people are going to be 100% for some things, they're going to be 0% for other things, they might be 24% for something else. And every single person on the spectrum with Asperger's, and you can extend that to autism as well, because it's all part of the same makeup, sits on a different place on that spectrum. And that is what your spectrum is. It's not linear from A to B, one characteristic. There's 10,000 of them, there's 100,000 of them, there's a plethora, there's as many as you want them to be, and everyone sits differently on every single kebab skewer. And that's why some people are fantastic at certain things and they're dreadful at other things, or they're not particularly good at other things. Sorry, dreadful is not a good word to use. So to say they're better or they're worse, I use different, because when you look at the definition of Asperger's, can I read this, or am I taking too much?
No.
Okay, this is a clinical definition of Asperger's syndrome that I got off the internet. Asperger's syndrome is an autism spectrum disorder, one of a distinct group of complex neurodevelopmental disorders characterized by social impairment, communication difficulties, and restrictive, repetitive, and stereotypical patterns of behavior. That's a horrible definition, isn't it? That's very clinical. It says nothing about the abilities and the skills and the specialisms of that person.
No.
It uses the word disorder twice, and I hate it for that, because disorder implies there's something wrong with you. If you say someone's got a disorder, there's something wrong with you. When no, there's not something. Actually, there's an awful lot right with them. You've just got to find it. You've got to nurture it. You've got to encourage it. And I'm just going to turn this card over, because on the back of this card, I've got my 30. That was 30 words. I've got my 30-word definition of Asperger's syndrome. See if you like the difference.
Joseph looks like he knows this.
Yeah. We had a very, very good conversation for an hour and a half, Joseph and I, on this podcast.
Cool.
Asperger's syndrome is an autism spectrum condition characterized by unique problem-solving skills, a highly developed imagination, and a flair for innovation in design, engineering, science, computing, and the arts. That's my 30-word definition of Asperger's, and I relate to that. That's what I relate. If you're going to pin me against a wall and say, "What are you?"
Tell me what skewer you're on.
I'm on all of those skewers, but that's what mine means. Because it is so important. It is so important not to label. And both Gabrielle and Shireen both mentioned a word which I, in the context of what we're talking about, I hate. It's the word normal. Because what is normal? How do you define normal?
Exactly.
If you start looking at it, then there's race, there's color, there's sexual identity, there's gender, there's hair color, there's eye color, there's size of feet. Do they wear glasses? Have they got hearing problems? Have they got dentures? Do they wear a wig? Have they got long hair? Have they got short hair? Have they got tattoos? Have they got piercings? You break all of that down into all of us, and guess what you get? You get 7 billion different people, because that's exactly what we are.